Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to my channel. If you looked at my channel before, you see that this is something new. My previous videos were more so about my cancer journey and what I've been through. So this is my not my first attempt at it, but my first video of me making a set of dominoes for someone. I've made a few before, so I'm not saying that this is the best way or the easiest way. I might be doing some things that are completely unnecessary, but this is just the method I go about doing things. It's what works for me. Right here is the scale that I'm going to be using to measure the liquid. I'll show you that step. This is the mica powder I'm going to be using. The customer wanted a royal purple one, so I'm going to try this mica powder here. Here's my 91% isopropyl alcohol to help with air bubbles, surface bubbles. Of course, some protective gloves, the cups, measuring cups. Of course, my domino mold, and most importantly, my respirator. The videos I've watched before on YouTube, they rarely ever talk about a respirator, but if you're going to do this, if you're working with epoxy, you want to be sure you wear a respirator, because these fumes are very toxic and harmful, can be very harmful to your lungs. So be sure you're wearing a respirator as well. Alright, so this is my technique of how I get the exact measurements. This epoxy that I use, like most epoxies that I've come across, are supposed to be 1-to-1 by volume, and I know that the scale is more so by weight instead of by volume, but this is how I do it. I've seen someone else do it this way, and I thought it was a good idea. Again, this might not be the best way to do it, but this is the method that I've been using, and it works well for me. So the way I figured out the measurements is I know that I just poured some water into this one domino mold, just to get, so I can show you how I know. But each mold on this particular, each section of the mold that I'm using takes approximately 0.5 ounces of liquid. So I have 28 molds that I have, 28 sections that I have to fill up. So I would need 14 total ounces. Because I'm going to be adding a little design in it, I do want to leave just a tiny space at the top. So instead of doing each section is going to have 0.5 ounces of liquid, I'm going to do 0.4 ounces of liquid. So that's going to be about 11 ounces total. So that is going to require for me to divide that 11 in half, because it's going to be a half part A, half of part B. So each cup is going to require 5.5 or 6 ounces of fluid. So I'm going to pour it back in here. So I want to get 5.5 ounces of each in each cup. So I'm going to fill this cup up. Wait, I think it's starting off. Let me make sure it's clear. Okay, clear it out one more time. Sorry, go. That's good enough. It said 5.8, but the weight doesn't matter. It's more so about the volume. So I know that this is at 5.8. So if I go ahead, clear it on out. It's at 5.8. This is what I'm going for. Okay, empty this cup out now. I want to make sure it's kind of level and finished with the finished moving around. and swerve and circling before you mark it, so it's kind of level. But I'll go ahead and mark right where it is. Right there is where I want to stop. So then I take that and I pour this same amount of liquid into this cup. Make sure you get all up and mark that as well. So that way, now you know when it's time to pour, you have the same volume in each one. Both of them are at the same spot, so when you pour A and B, it'll be the same amount in each cup. That's my technique of doing, the way of doing things. Like I said, it might be unnecessary, but that's just the way I do it, and I find that it works the best in making sure that I'm getting the an equal amount of part A and part B. So I'm gonna go ahead and dry these cups out, get all the water out, make sure that's good. Then I'll be back when I get everything, get this cleaned out, like clean this out, make sure there's no residue, no dust, anything in here, and I'll get started on the pour. Here at this part, you just want to follow the directions of the bottle of the epoxy. I stirred it for 5 minutes to make sure it was all combined properly. And here I'm just using the mica powder and a little bit of the purple paint. I love the way that the mica powder gives like a slight shimmer to it. So yeah, mica powder is definitely my favorite additive, but of course it's always depending on what the customer wants. And I always have a problem with making sure that it is opaque enough so that the pips are not seen through the back side or through the side of the domino. Because again, because if you know anything about dominoes, you don't want your opponent to be able to see what dominoes you have, and you don't want them to be able to see the dominoes they're pulling from the boneyard. So I can see right here that it is a little too see-through. All right, so here is the design that I'm going to be placing onto the dominoes, the customer's initials. I'm just going to cut these out. This is the transparent vinyl sticker paper I got off of Amazon. While the epoxy is drying or curing, excuse me, I'm going to, which takes about 6 hours, I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, get these ready, and once it's cured, I'll decide if I'm going to do it before I lay the epoxy or after I lay the epoxy. All right, and like I said before, I could tell that the dominoes were a little too see-through. So what I did is just took some of that same paint and just painted the top of the dominoes, so that layer of the dominoes, to make sure they were not see-through. It worked really well. I tried it once before, so I knew that it would work. If the dominoes were too see-through, this technique would work. All right, and I laid two stickers down before I laid poured the epoxy in to see what would be better. I've tried it before, but for some reason I decided to try it again this time. But typically I find that the best method of doing it is to put the epoxy in first and then put the sticker in so that it is able to slide. You can maneuver it and make sure it's in the right position, because as you will be able to see right here, when I put the sticker down, I had to move it. I had to change its position, and it got messed up right there at that point when I had to lift the sticker back up. That particular sticker was basically useless. So once I realized that laying the sticker down first, again, I don't know why I decided to do that on this video, but I did. I realized that laying the sticker down was a bad idea, so I just went ahead and poured all of the epoxy in first. And then once I put the stickers in, I was able to move them around. So yeah, so here again you can see that one particular domino, where I pulled the sticker up, it is messed up. And again, if you know anything about dominoes, you know you should not be able to have any distinguishing marks on any of the back sides of the dominoes, so that you or your opponent won't know which domino they're trying to pick from the boneyard or what domino you have in your hand. So yeah, that domino is going to have to be done over. All right, it is the next day and it's time to demold. Oh, again, all of them turned out looking good so far on this end. Again, the only point I'm seeing is I'm gonna have to redo these two, but other than that, they're looking pretty good. So let's get to the demold. So, and this is what happens when you have the overspill. So I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to go with an X-Acto knife and pull it apart like this. Then go in with an X-Acto knife or utility knife. Okay, and just cut this part off. You don't have to get too close because I'm going to go back over each edge anyway with the sandpaper and file down all of the hard edges, but an X-Acto knife will knock this stuff down. Just like so. No, not hard at all. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and demold all of these, and then I'll show you what they look like at the end. All right, upon further inspection, these dominoes are no good to go. You can see through the back. Even though I laid a layer of paint on it, I didn't lay enough on there, so you can still see the pips through the back of the domino. And I'm not going to send those out to anyone. That is not acceptable work, so I'm going to redo them. You can't really see it on the video, but yeah, they're see-through, and trust me, if they were not see-through, I would not be doing it over again. And you can even see the side through the side view. You can still see the pips too. I'm going to do it off camera and I'll show you the next set. All right, here's the first layer done. A nice thin layer of glitter and epoxy. I laid the glitter, I mixed the glitter in with the epoxy, and then once it was with a little tint of purple in it. And once it was poured in, I began to sprinkle a glitter over top of it, kind of like seasoning food. Just sprinkle, 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 sprinkle until its coverage is good enough for me. I'm hoping that this way will work. I won't know again, unfortunately, until it's all done. Hopefully this works. But yeah, this is the first layer done. I'm just going to let this go ahead and cure for about 6 hours, and then I'll come back and pour the second layer. Okay, it's been about 6 hours. This layer is nice and firm, so I'm going to go ahead and put down my second layer with the purple, kind of thicker than normal, thicker than before, and hopefully it will cure just as well as these other 2 layers, but it's going to be just a thicker, more opaque purple than before. So I'll go ahead and get that done, and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm just going to give this another 6 hours, a minimum of 6 hours, before I come back and check it. Make sure I come back every so often. Make sure there are no air bubbles that surfaced. Of course, going to hit it with some of the alcohol, and again, just check it every so often to make sure there are no air bubbles that came up to the top. There we go. I'm very happy with the way these came out. Yeah, you can't see through them at all. I went ahead and did the stickers again off camera. You saw it before, so you didn't need to see it again, but I did the stickers. Everything came out perfect. I'm very happy with this set. So now it's just going to be to color in the dots. I went ahead and sanded it off camera, and because this particular mold does make really sharp edges, so I just sanded it down with a 1000 grit sandpaper with water, did a wet sand, and now it's time to just get the pips colored in, and I'll be right back to show you what I do. Alright, now it's time for the dots to be colored. I'm going to do a black glitter. I think it'll be a nice contrast on this purple, and then it'll be a glitter as well. The way I'm going to put in, just apply some Mod Podge and then sprinkle them in. So here we go. There we go. All 28 completed. So I'm just gonna give these about an hour to dry. While these are dry, I'm cleaning up my mess. And the next step is to again, just wash them off, wipe them off real good, probably with some alcohol. just to get any loose glitter off and any glue that might have dried on it. And then that points to the last step, which is I have some washi tape. It's called washi, I believe it's washi tape, to cover up the section of the domino that I used to clear on. I like the effect that it gives. I'm gonna give these a little bit of time just to dry, come back, double check them, make sure all of the glitter, loose glitter is off, and then I'll proceed on to my last and final step. Now on to the final step. They are finally dry and good enough for me. No glitter is leaking out. I did go ahead and seal it with some UV resin just to make sure that none of the glitter will fall out. But my last step is to cover up this part right here where it's the clear. Well, it wasn't clear, it was a tint, a purple tint, but it's still too see-through. This part right here, you can see the pips right there. This is the 6. You can see those 3 dots right there. So what I'm going to do is take this here washi tape, and I am going to cut it and lay it across the edge right here. And go all the way around the whole domino. I think I said it before, this may be a bit unnecessary. A lot of this stuff that I'm doing might be unnecessary, but it's what works for me. And in order to, again, to be combat this part right here that you can see, or even when you're trying to pick the dominoes from the in the beginning of the round, you don't want to be able to see anything. So I'm going to fix that, but you'll see what it looks like at the when I finish. I'm going to go ahead and do one on camera, and then I'll finish the rest later. And so again, you won't be able to see what number this domino is. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of these off camera, and I will be back to show you all them all when it's done. Alright, here they go. This is what the end looks like after the washi tape has been applied. I'm very happy with the way these have come out. Hopefully the customer will be too. So now it's just a matter of me just packing them up in the container that I got off from Dollar Tree and shipping them off. So thanks again for watching my video, and if you like it, please leave a like and a comment, and thank you very much.